What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for September the 4th of 2019. And for those that are brand new to the show, this is a daily gaming news podcast that keeps you up to date and informed on everything happening in the gaming industry. Hosted on youtube.com/Samuel Adams Media Monday through Friday, and of course also put up on podcast services around the world if you did want to check out the audio version of the show and subscribe via your favorite podcast provider. But what are we going to be talking about today? Gears is getting Dave Bautista, or should I say Dave Bautista is finally getting Gears, although not in the movie format that he was hoping for, but he is going to be in Gears 5. We will talk more about when you can dive in and check out Drax the Destroyer in your favorite Gears portion of the game. That was a horrible way to say that. Also, Drax the Destroyer, not the skin you're getting. It's a very misleading fake news podcast that we have going on here today. But Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be getting a multiplayer mode. We will talk more about when that could be coming. Hint, not at launch. That's unfortunate. Borderlands 3 will be preloadable across PS4 and Xbox One, but now also on PC after that was going to be a doubtful occurrence considering the current state of the Epic Games Store. Uplay Plus is now here, and you can give it a shot for free if you did want to check out the new subscription service from Ubisoft. Pokemon Masters has hit millions and millions of download. In fact, I'll tell you how many in just a couple of moments. Then, Doom 64 has been rated in Australia. PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale 2 has resurfaced yet again, and it could be a PlayStation 5 launch title, and if it is, I'll probably make a bet that I can't fulfill. I was going to say cut off a toe, but then I thought, well, it actually could happen, and I like having all 10 toes. But then, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville is getting a release, or at least an announcement today. And then finally, you can watch UK Parliament on Twitch, and it is surreal because of what's happening in international politics in the current state of 2019. But that's pretty much the lineup for today's show. Again, I do hope you enjoy what I bring to the table. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top gaming news. First off, Gears 5 is getting Dave Bautista as a playable character later on this month. It's sort of happening. Actor and WWE star Dave Bautista has been trying for a long while to get cast in the far-off Gears of War movie to little success. Thankfully, Gears 5 seems to have found a compromise. Starting September the 15th, just after the WWE Clash of Champions pay-per-view event, you can play as Dave Bautista in Gears 5. The announcement comes straight from Bautista's official Twitter account, where the star donned the iconic COG armor, muttered, "It's about effing time," and donned a pair of sunglasses. Gears 5 developer, the Coalition, released a statement to Bleacher Report earlier today explaining the extent of Bautista's inclusion. Quote, "Dave has long been passionate about joining the Gears franchise, and we are thrilled to be working in partnership with him to bring his signature WWE style to the game," the Coalition said. The iconic attitude of WWE's Bautista will be incorporated into Gears 5 as a multiplayer skin, allowing both Gears and wrestling fans alike to jump into the action as Bautista across all multiplayer modes, including Horde, Versus, and Escape. And of course, here's a screenshot of the man himself in the game, and I must say, that does look like Dave Bautista wearing a pair of Dave Bautista sunglasses. Gears 5 director Rod Ferguson also had some pleasantries to share about including Bautista. "It's been a long time coming, but I couldn't be happier that we are finally making Dave's dream to be in Gears of War a reality in Gears 5, Ferguson said. "The iconic larger-than-life persona of Bautista fits perfectly in the Gears of War universe, and the entire team at the Coalition can't wait to see him take on the Swarm and all other challengers in multiplayer. Dave and the WWE have been a pleasure to work with, and I'm hopeful this is just the beginning of our partnership." Bautista has, of course, starred in the relatively recent Avengers Endgame as the humorous Drax the Destroyer in the buddy comedy Stuber with fellow actor Kumail Nanjiani? Sure, why not? I don't watch movies. And the recent What We Do in the Shadows series. He retired from the WWE last April after a loss to fellow wrestler Triple H at WrestleMania 35. Little pause here. I would also say he retired from the WWE after making tons and tons of money in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but still no word on whether he is playing Marcus Fenix in a Gears of War film. But having Gears 5 on his resume certainly doesn't hurt that. Gears 5 releases on September the 6th if you did want to dive in and give it a shot. But of course, there are other kinds of little cameos included with the Gears 5 release, including Terminator's, T-800, something along those lines. The big robot from Terminator is going to be included in the game as well, along with a couple of other skins here and there from various franchises, etc. But Dave Bautista coming to Gears 5. What do we think about this one? I think it's pretty cool. Of course, Dave Bautista is kind of an icon in 2019, especially considering his role in the Avengers movies and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But more so than that, he's kind of getting to that John Wick, Keanu Reeves status, where he just kind of is seen in various parts of various entertainment industries. And I'm kind of okay with it. I really do like it. But if you do want to dive in and check out Dave Bautista in Gears 5 again, coming as a multiplayer skin later on this month, and I will say, if you want to dive in and check out Gears 5 again, it is featured this week on The Drop, the weekly show that lets you know the hottest games coming out across the consoles as well as PC, so there's more info there. But you can get Ultimate, the Xbox Game Pass offering for $2 for 2 months, I believe, is the deal that's going on right now. So literally, you can play this game for $2 on Xbox One or PC, and then you can cancel the subscription if you don't like what you get. But I will say, as always, Xbox Game Pass, fantastic deal in gaming. Not sponsored, not a collaboration, just a really, really good deal. But overall, again, Dave Bautista, cool skin coming to Gears 5, and they're doing more and more of these collaborations, and hopefully we will in fact be getting this movie that Dave Bautista has been wanting for so very long. But Cyberpunk 2077 is getting a multiplayer mode, but it won't be there at launch. Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer mode is no longer an open secret. After months of speculation, dodging, and non-committals, Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red has now confirmed that a multiplayer mode is in the works for the action RPG. The mode is seemingly early in development, and CD Projekt Red has revealed that it won't be available at the game's launch in April. The team made these announcements on the game's official Twitter earlier today. The tweets also confirm that Cyberpunk 2077 will receive single-player DLC, both free and paid. And as for the multiplayer mode, the studio encouraged those interested to apply for a job at CD Projekt Red to help define it. It was only last month when the developer admitted it's exploring the concept of multiplayer in Cyberpunk 2077. Before that, questions were met with a lot of indecisive answers. It remains to be seen what shape this mode will take, and it's nonetheless an intriguing idea for a studio mostly known for its single-player games. And of course, if you do want to dive into Cyberpunk 2077, one of the biggest games of the generation, then you can check out the game on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on April the 26th. But what is the multiplayer mode going to look like? Of course, no definitive answer as of yet, but if I had to guess, you're going to be looking at something similar to Red Dead Online. I think that's where they're going to be going with the world of Night City Online. Because quite frankly, it's such a vibrant, living world that to make it a, linear multiplayer experience, a match-based cover shoot, like, what do you want this to be? I can't imagine it being anything else than something that is open world, that has questing, that has posses that you can make, such as on Red Dead, such as in Grand Theft Auto Online, that kind of setup. Whenever you've got a world that is this alive, whenever you've got a world that is this vibrant, you can't simply contain it to something that is, as I said, a linear kind of experience like you would expect from a Battlefield, a Call of Duty, any kind of those. It just wouldn't work that well. And I don't even think there's going to be a team-based component here. I think it's going to be something that is living and breathing online. But again, I'm no game designer. I'm not applying for the job at CD Projekt Red because there are people out there that do that kind of thing way better than I ever could, and I'm going to leave that to them. But Cyberpunk 2077, nonetheless, one of the biggest games of, as I said, the generation, but on top of that, of 2020. Even with the new consoles on the horizon, the current gen consoles are going to be getting quite a gem whenever April 2020 rolls around. But you know what else is going to be pretty good? Borderlands 3, and guess what? You can preload it, and of course you could before on PS4 and Xbox One, but now you can do so on PC. And also I have the worldwide launch times for you. Epic and 2K have changed their minds. Now, the update, of course, from the original story, is that Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said in August that even though the Epic Games store supports preloading, Borderlands 3 would not have a preload period because he wasn't certain the system would be up to the demands of a major release like Borderlands 3. That situation has now changed. 2K Games announced today that Borderlands 3 will be preloadable on all platforms, including PC, beginning roughly 48 hours prior to the scheduled launch time. In North America, that means you can start preloading at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time on September the 10th if you did want to go ahead and boot the game up and have it ready to roll on your console or your PC. And so, of course, the original story is as follows. Borderlands 3 comes out next week, and for players eager to jump back into its particular brand of mayhem, the question is, when can I download Borderlands 3? Of course, here is the entire map, and if you did want to dive in, again, you can download it in the Eastern Time Zone at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on September the 12th. Excuse me, that's the release time. So you can start the game on... If you're watching the video, you got the picture in front of you. If you're on the audio version of the show, then Siri just picked up my... I'm not talking to you. Stop it. Oh my God, why? I hate technology. But September the 12th is when you... God, technology, man. Technology. But if you do want to dive in, you can check it out September the 12th at 7 Eastern Time. I think? I don't know, man. Go look at the graphic yourself. It's launching next week. You know, Borderlands 3, big game, etc., etc. Professional podcast without any kind of interruptions. But yeah, so you can preload it on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Pretty good little story. However, you can't play it with Ubisoft's Uplay service because, of course, not an Ubisoft-affiliated game. But guess what? You can play over 100 other titles on the big old service from the big old gaming company. You can download and play 100-plus games for $15 a month. I know, the author says. There are enough subscriptions in your life already. I'm right there with you. But if you are anything like me, you'll want to stay aware of the goings-on with this stuff. Sometimes that one right game comes out and it makes more sense to burn through it with a subscription than buy it outright. I've done that before with EA Access, and chances are I'll eventually do it again with Uplay Plus. Ubisoft's video game subscription service Uplay Plus launched today, and it functions similarly to other publisher-led programs. For $15 a month, actually $14.99, you can download 100-ish games and their respective DLC with upcoming releases like Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Watch Dogs Legion on the docket. Here's the list of PC games included in Uplay Plus. It's a lot of Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy, along with back catalog titles like Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time and Might and Magic series, as well as Pets Horses 2. With Z's instead of S's on pets and horses. Other perks include early access, betas, and premium edition content where applicable. Now, this is where you tune in. If you are mildly curious, there's a free trial running until September the 30th of 2019, and that said, some users are having trouble subscribing to Uplay Plus, and one of the service's most notable inclusions, Anno 1800, is temporarily unavailable to play. So, of course, the author says they are not interested in Uplay Plus right now, but they might loop back around for Watch Dogs Legion. However, I'm more interested in the free trial to see if this is all it's cracked up to be. Of course, the Ubisoft subscription includes Ubisoft games, as to be expected from a service from Ubisoft. And man, there are a ton of games from... I mean, think about it. You've got all of your Far Cry's, all of your Assassin's Creed's, all of your Tom Clancy games, all of your, of course, Ghost Recon games, which are Tom Clancy games. But you understand what I'm saying. It's a pretty big deal if you do want to dive in to the Uplay world. You know, with over 100 games available for $15 a month, it's already a pretty good, you know, deal in the gaming space. But on top of that, with new games coming out, such as Ghost Recon Breakpoint and, of course, Watch Dogs Legion, might be a pretty good one to get, or at least try out to see if you might be interested in getting into that world. But of course, if you do want to dive in, it's out today. A couple of issues here and there with the launch, but overall, they should be ironed out within a couple of days, if not hours. And then you can download for $14.99 a month, or with a free trial, 100-ish games and their DLCs, and get prepped up for upcoming releases. But you can also download Pokemon Masters and join the over 10 million other people that have downloaded the game in 4 days. This game just prints money. I cannot believe it every single time. The latest Pokemon mobile game, Pokemon Masters, has been downloaded more than 10 million times, according to the dev and publisher DNA. Moreover, the game achieved the feat in just 4 days, making it the second fastest mobile game to hit the milestone, behind Super Mario Run. For further context, it took Pokemon Go a full week to get 10 million downloads, although at launch you could only officially download Pokemon Go if you lived in the US, Australia, and New Zealand. Once Go became more widely available, the game secured 1 billion downloads in less than 1 month. The question now becomes whether Pokemon Masters will be able to maintain its current pace and also hit the magic billion. It seems unlikely, if only because Pokemon Go had a couple of unique things going for it. Beyond the obvious Pokemon tie-in, for a lot of people, Go was the introduction to augmented reality. The game also helped build its own popularity by pushing players to get outside, and if you lived in a city, it was impossible to go somewhere in the summer of 2016 and not see someone playing Pokemon Go on the street. In that way, developer Niantic probably got a lot of people who weren't necessarily fans of the franchise to check out the game. By contrast, Masters features a more straightforward gameplay appeal. To start, you don't have to go outside to play. Oh, thank God. Wow, all right, we're in now. Instead, Masters is more like past Pokemon games, with trainer battles being the main focus. The twist here is that the game follows a 3-on-3 formula in which the player assembles a dream team of their favorite trainers and their Pokemon from past games. And of course, you can check out the game now on iOS and Android and see it for yourself in action. Now, I am not into Pokemon whatsoever. I will say, however, my friends at work are into Pokemon, and they were both playing it. The two guys that I was working with on the night of its launch, and I will say they thought it was a pretty interesting take on the franchise. Of course, microtransactions can be bought, things along those lines, but overall, it's a pretty good-looking Pokemon game. If you do want the basic kind of approach to it, I believe that it's a little bit more open than previous Pokemon games, and of course, you don't have to go outside to play like Pokemon Go, so that's going to be much more intriguing for some people. But I think when it comes to a Pokemon game on mobile, you have to be able to bring something new to the table, something fresh. And with Pokemon Go, that was the freshest it could possibly get because that kind of thing had never been done before. Now with Pokemon Masters, it's just a Pokemon game, of course, with 10 million downloads. Still nothing to shake a stick at in just a couple of days. But, I don't know, man. I don't know if this one's going to hit the overall great 1 billion, but it very well could because, again, like I said, Pokemon just prints cash. It just absolutely rolls in it like Scrooge McDuck. Like, oh my God. Yeah, wow. It's a lot of cash. But you know what else is making a lot of money? The Doom franchise. And guess what? Doom 64 has been rated in Australia, while classic Doom ports are to receive a new update. Doom is still a mood, they say at Destructoid, because, it's the same backwards. There have been a run of news releases related to titles in the groundbreaking first-person shooter series Doom. These tidbits are mostly pertaining to older titles in the franchise, which recently found new life in the form of re-releases on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. First up, Bethesda's re-release of Doom and Doom 2 are to receive a new update. According to a tweet posted on the brand's official Twitter, the update will improve sound and lighting to add further authenticity to the audio visuals of the original 90s releases. The update will also bring unspecified game performance improvements, but there is currently no date for the patch. Also of interest, the Australian Ratings Board is the latest classification body to add a new listing for 1997 release Doom 64, which was developed for, naturally, the Nintendo 64 by Midway Games back in '97. This rating follows up a similar posting by Peggy for the same title back in July, further suggesting that the N64 port is headed to PS4 and PC at some point in the future. Of course, alongside all the other classic news, fans are currently feverish for the release of the newest entry in the series, Doom Eternal, which launches on November the 22nd. So keep your chainsaw oiled and your visor polished, as it looks there is plenty of Doom action crawling out of the gaping mouth of hell. Have a nice day, they say at Destructoid. Now, this is something that has been in the works for quite some time, and I absolutely cannot wait to dive into it because, of course, Doom 64, many people don't know, was a sequel, not necessarily just a port of the original Doom. I believe it was a follow-up to Doom 2, if I remember correctly. But again, only available on the Nintendo 64 unless you wanted to run an emulator on PC or something along those lines. Now, with it coming to PS4 and PC, hypothetically, then you could be getting the first view of Doom 64 on anything other than the Nintendo 64, which is, of course, a very good time. It's fantastic to have all of the games in one place, and of course, as you know, your boy loves some trophies on the PlayStation ecosystem, so, I'm down for that. I'm definitely down for that. But we will see if this is in fact the case. I believe that this is going to be a legitimate release. I think this is what we are going to be seeing because, again, why would you have two different iterations of the game being leaked in some kind of way, shape, or form if it wasn't actually happening, especially by the big ratings companies around the world? However, you know what might not be real? PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale 2. Because there is a rumor going around that PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale 2, which is, of course, the Super Smash Bros.-like game that has PlayStation characters, at least the sequel to the original that had that same description, will be a Capcom-made PlayStation 5 launch title, according to, again, a totally bogus-sounding rumor. How many times have we heard the decidedly dodgy rumor about PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2? There is one from 2014, another from 2017, and there have been plenty more in between. This latest leak says the sequel to 2012's PlayStation 3 and Vita Fighter will be released alongside the PS5, and get this, it's being developed by both, quote, Sony and Capcom. It's the kind of rumor that immediately sounds like nonsense because there is no real source to track down. It's being reported by a number of sites, but none of them link back to any kind of credible starting point. Heck, some of them don't link back to anything, and it's always a good sign when that comes to legitimacy. The rumor goes on to say that PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2 will come to PC 1 year after its debut on PS5. It's the kind of detail that just doesn't sound right, and then it mentions that there will be no crossplay between the two platforms. Legit leaks tend not to include such a wide spread of information, especially when they claim to be entirely new. As always, we'd stress caution when it comes to rumors like this. With a new console generation incoming, it is so easy to slap together bogus info and watch as it gets passed around the web and laugh with your friends. This isn't happening. I just wanted to address this because I saw it pop up on my Twitter feed and I went, ha, okay. Because, again, there is no reason for this to exist. PlayStation All-Stars was fun when it first came out, but in today's day and age, I just don't see this being, number one, released. Number two, a PlayStation 5 launch title. Imagine you've built up the entire generation of the PlayStation 4 with these cinematic masterpieces of God of War and The Last of Us, with The Last of Us Part 2 coming soon, Spider-Man. You have all these amazing, over-the-top, AAA experiences, and then PlayStation 5 launches, the most powerful hardware ever created for consoles in the home. Then you say, hey guys, available on day one, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2. Like, no, that's not happening. But you know what is happening? A countdown for Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, which is getting an official reveal today. Publisher EA seems to be teasing something Plants vs. Zombies related on its website, as evidenced by a countdown timer advertising a new game called Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. As of September the 3rd, 2019, the countdown timer had around 21 hours left, signaling we will hear more today, September the 4th, at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. We already knew about Battle for Neighborville thanks to a trademark filed by EA in August, but now its existence is more official, and of course there was also the giant leak for the trailer that, came out, and we pretty much we've seen it. We know what it looks like. But Battle for Neighborville is effectively the third title in the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare series, and while it may not bear the name Garden Warfare 3, numerous leaks from the closed technical community alpha have all but confirmed this is the next evolution in the online third-person shooter formula that blossomed, good one, from the original mobile title. Back in July of 2019, a leaked email surfaced online pointing to a new Plants vs. Zombies game codenamed Picnic, and an excerpt from it reads, "Hey Plants and Zombies, get involved in the community playtesting program for a chance to be invited to the upcoming playtest for the new PvZ shooter codenamed Picnic, and of course then we will have made by the team that created Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare." Now, they go on to talk more about the leaks and whatnot. Basically, it's a first-person shooter, or actually, in this case, a third-person shooter set in the world of Plants vs. Zombies. And I will say, the other ones have been relatively well-received. I was shocked and awed. That's not really a correct way to say that, but I was very impressed with the fact that the games themselves are pretty well received overall. You've got 1 and 2 sitting pretty on the ratings charts. You've got them continually being played. Apparently, the online versions of the game, I suppose, both of them are relatively vibrant. So, why not? I suppose, in 2019, when we've got tons of re-releases and whatnot, bring out a new Plants vs. Zombies shooter. I am probably not going to play it, but hey, why not, you know? So if you want to check out Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville's big reveal, check out the official outlets coming soon, which by soon I mean 12 Eastern Time today. And I'll talk more about it tomorrow when we know exactly what is happening. And finally, if you want to watch UK Parliament break down, you can watch it live on Twitch. And man, is it surreal. And of course, the emotes themselves are also very good. Bernie Sanders has his own Twitch channel now, so why not the entire UK Parliament? They're not getting together to play Minecraft on a shared server and argue about who is putting in the most effort. UK Parliament is an unofficial channel that streams parliamentary debates to make the process of UK democracy visible to a wider audience, and it also has emotes. Now, I've seen some strange things happen during question time in the Australian Parliament, and the United States Congress has plenty of oddness on its own, but the singular British brand of WTFery on display in the House of Commons makes for better viewing than any Dota match I have ever tried to sit through. You get infamous Speaker of the House John Burkall shouting for order, and then following up with, "I say to the Chancellor of the Duchy that when he turns up at our children's school as a parent, he's very well-behaved fellow." Meanwhile, the chat goes wild. Twitch chat and jeering parliamentary backbenchers have a lot in common. Or you can watch Green Party MP Caroline Lucas berating Jacob Rees-Mogg for lounging around like Oscar Wilde instead of sitting up straight like everyone who doesn't live in a mansion made for other smaller mansions, and then spot a notification pop up in the corner of the screen that says, "Big old titties followed." Oh, I love Twitch so much. The 21st century is not turning out like Jody McGregor expected. Oh man, that's good. No, I was seriously watching this. I believe at the time of recording this podcast, 7:39 a.m. on September the 4th. They are live right now. And man, is it a good time. Of course, right now, the state of politics around the world is tumultuous, to say the least. But on top of that, Parliament is having a time with Boris Johnson, and I don't really get, into politics on today's show, but if you really want to watch the state of government in 2019, you tune into UK Parliament on Twitch, because, man, it's something. But you can subscribe, get emotes, the Boris Johnson emote, the Order emote, and more if you did want to dive in and, give it a look. Oh, James Corbin. But anyways, if you do want to dive in and check that out, again, twitch.tv/UK Parliament, and that will scratch your itch whenever you're wanting some politics in your life. But that rounds out today's show. Of course, if you are brand new, I do hope you enjoyed what I brought to the table. But until next time, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.